Football Tactics and Glory tutorial. In this video we do not explain the basics of the game, but we recall the class system and try to improve the training of your players in order to exploit their full potential. For more information on classes, I suggest you to go to the video description. Your team can be made up of low-level players, marked in green with a question mark, who have no particular class. They aren't useful and have nothing very remarkable. As they progress, they become amateur footballers and obtain new talents in accordance with their position. Goalkeepers, defenders, midfielders, forward, they specialize in a game sector. Logical evolution is the universal footballer, possessing new skills, always divided into 4 game sectors. However, another option for these top players is to focus on a specific position, sacrificing a second skill to obtain a particular trait. Center forward, defensive midfielder, or central defender, for example. We will now take the time to explain how to train your professional players. Note that we do not fully explain the talents and skills in this video. This time, we are going to show somewhat ideal examples. It is impossible in the game to have 0 in pass, for example, just as you cannot really be sure of what skill your player is going to get. We won't tell you to pick Olympic kick, because it's a rare skill and I strongly recommend to choose it wherever the player is, preferably not placed in central defense, but to have at least one in your team. First of all, keepers. Here are displayed the interesting skills: play out, strong keeper, reaction and long pass. The first 3 are the most common choices, but considering long pass as the second option if your goalkeeper is bad at it isn't stupid. Here are some combinations that we can make. Note that the attributes are chosen in order to help you to understand on what you must focus. Defense should always be privileged, and if your goalkeeper has got long pass attribute, training passing is useless. Otherwise, it can be considered in order not to lose a turn in your build-up. The control attribute is very important against the head talents. Train it, especially if you do not pick play out. Your choice must depend on your way of playing. It's superfluous to get long pass if you like to give the ball to left back and make it run, or if one of your CD already has this attribute. My preference goes to the play out and reaction combo. Here, I maximize my defense, and if my control is high enough, I can also train him to pass. I don't like to pass to my defenders to build up, but you can just improve your defense. It all depends on your playing style. I also play without strong goalkeeper. In my opinion, it's easier to protect yourself from cannon shot by positioning your players well than from rainbow, even with a sweeper with reaction. As for the actual defenders, you have to compose your defense thanks to head play, sliding tackle, reaction and long pass. I say compose because the best option for all these positions could be sliding tackle, but you have to organize it and pick the right skills to protect yourself in the aerial battles and against rainbow. The cannon shot is a manageable weakness. You have to think about it to protect yourself by placing your defense well, or have a strong keeper to prevent it. First of all, universal defenders have to train their defense, and according to how far away of midfielders they are, train also passes. Control attribute is very important for defending corner kicks. If you play with DF, CD and sweeper only, it is to DF that you may give high control to defend this, along with the sliding tackle skill to bring back the ball. Myself, I prefer to defend corners with my side backs or one of my midfielders attackers and stay solid against classic shots. I train control at least a bit so that they are able to keep the ball after a regaining position at the end of the turn. If the opposing forward take it back, it's over. Among the combination shown, my preference goes for slide tackle, long pass or short pass combination. I also appreciate giving them head talent even if they are sometimes out of position after blocking a shot. But in this way, I cover them with a CD which has the reaction, which forces opponent's rainbow to be used against DF. Interception is not notified here because it's a rather rare skill on defenders. You have to be an amateur midfielder and then convert to DF. But it's a very useful one if you have an empty tile behind your DF. For central defenders, reaction is a good option as I said. Winning back a lot of balls, it can be interesting to give them long pass in order to clear properly and concentrate training on defense instead. Sliding tackle is always something to consider for all players, but I don't think it's the most useful here. My choice goes for to the head talents. Even if the 2 go off the center, I never like to give it to the sweeper who generally follows the passer and does not defend the crosses, because the ball goes over his head. And as we need someone to defend against this, we might give it to central defenders. Now come the sweepers. Sliding tackle still works, but generally he leaves its position, so I do not recommend it so much. You can always grab long pass and reaction. Long pass that works particularly well because the player recovers a lot of balls and is often the first involved in the build-up. But being terrified by the rainbow feint, reaction is my favorite. The lateral defenders finally. I show here long pass, reaction and nutmeg. Also, cannon shot is possible if you make them play higher on the pitch by making them run towards the diagonal or keep the ball according to what's going on. But not being the best in this role, I prefer to use their advantages, which is to reduce opponent's skill wall. This is why reactions prevent them from being dribbled directly. To be fair, your only hesitation must be between long pass and nutmeg. This choice must be made depending on pass quality of your player. I still like to train them so they are at least able to cross well, but the priority of training is control. They are the ones that you can use to defend corner kicks, and if they have to be correct defenders, they are not the last wall. I did not note it because it makes them go out of position, but sliding tackle is very interesting to pick, useful for breaking back the ball in defense and in the midfield. Speaking of midfielders, universal midfielders. You can place them anywhere on the field, and they are really powerful in attack because they can run 2 tiles with the ball. This has to be taken into account, which is why rainbow feint and cannon shot may be useful. Depending on where you place them, head talent can work both in attack and in defense, but is not the most interesting in my opinion. Given their mobility, short pass and especially sliding tackles are ideal. Interception can cut the opposing team's build-up and protect you effectively as long as your player is correct in defense. Let's take a look at some examples. Depending on your playing style, the training of your MF can be different. You can even give him good shooting ability. However, I prefer to bet on skills instead of accuracy in order to score. In fact, everything works as long as you think about it. But if I had to choose, I would say that cannon shot and rainbow feint break every enemy's defense. And that long pass sliding tackle combo is the most effective while placed as a midfield. For the left and right midfield, you can place them in defense and use them to counterattack quickly, or in midfield to go for crosses and shots. Various choices exist. You must always train their level of pass in order to cross, and also their control so that they will not be stopped in their runs. Among the various options, a nutmeg is often useful when you meet an opposing lateral halfway. Personally, I have never had great success with passing skills on this player, but cannon shot on one is a very good choice. Back to the heart of the game with defensive midfielders. They are very effective in worst division where it's difficult to perform the lofted pass over them. That's why you must know how to use them. You mainly want to train their defense, but also their control. They often end up with the ball and it is better not to lose it in this area. Every DM has got interception level 1, but training it again helps to stop long and short passes. So it's very interesting. Slide tackle on a player able to run 2 tiles in his zone is obviously an option. My opinion is that long pass is very interesting in order to give the ball directly to forwards, but I prefer to give it to central midfielder higher on the pitch in order to directly reach the penalty area. So this time I choose slide tackle, but it's because of my playstyle. Control midfielders. Again, a lot of options available. Forget rainbow feint and cannon shots. They are ultimately not very mobile and not high enough on the field. I have sometimes met formation where you can perform several nutmegs in a row, devastating but too situational. The best options are always sliding tackle, long passes, and depending on how you play, short pass. Interception is also a very good option for central midfielders in order to prevent opponents' long pass. I think long pass work all the time, but if you are playing with multiple CM or even when you're just having one, having multiple profiles is important, very important. Do not forget to train their pass quality a minimum, their defense also, at least on one of them, and especially their control. Once again, you do not want to lose the ball there. Attacking midfielders can easily play in all attacking areas. Powerful on long run strikes, you must focus on accuracy. Depending on where you play them, pass attribute can be used to cross and control is never stupid, but I prefer to give it to other players. For this one, short pass and cannon shot are devastating. Nutmeg and rainbow feint work very well if you train control to resist CD's tackle. For the last two skill charms, they are not mobile enough for sliding tackle, which still allows you to bring back the ball in the feet of opponent defensive midfielder, and the head talent can work very well if you play them in the axis, but too situational and not that effective. My opinion is that short passes combined with their ability to use force kick on defenders is the most powerful option. They become very strong despite their lack of mobility. Here comes the forwards. Universal at first, every offensive skills work, but note that their bonus control can also be used in midfield. Head play is necessarily a very good option, but you will sometimes leave the area to shoot. The best idea here is the rainbow feint. Of course cannon shot can still work too. And surprise, sliding tackles is perhaps the best choice. You're able to move easily without the ball. Let's see several examples. Always train precision and especially control. You will surely give them the ball at the end of the turn to keep it. Develop a beat pass attribute can be useful if you need to cross, but it's not the most important, it's not their goal. Short pass sliding tackle combination works well, as does the rainbow feint cannon shot, which gives you offensive weapons and allows you to train control alone. You guessed it, I recommend sliding tackle on rainbow feint, which will always work. Center forward move all by himself towards the goal. Control can still work to keep the ball at the end of the possession and get a penalty kick, but also dribble past the defense and the goalkeeper. Training only that is more than viable. I recommend it. But I tend to prefer the classic training only to precision with offensive skills like head play, cannon shot and rainbow feint. Nutmeg is also to be considered. You will often face the defensive line. It offers a precision bonus, but don't forget in this case to develop control minimum. All three are very good choices, depending on how you use them. Personally, I like the head play talent and the rainbow feint. Let's end the video with lateral forwards. They may use more or less the same skills, even if on their side head talent is useless and short pass become relevant. But stuck to its side, sliding tackle will make him move away from its area and nullify its ability to penetrate the box. When it comes to training, control, and more control. To get penalties, dribble the goalkeeper, everything. Training as much passing as you need to cross, or precision to shoot further, is a bonus. Knowing that you only have one skill, such choice must be made between cannon shot and rainbow feint. You'll understand, I use and abuse of their ability to penetrate the box, and I often gave them cannon shot in my careers. But the main thing to remember here is to get a skill in order to beat the goalkeeper in 1v1 situation. So it all depends on this opponent's skills. Nutmeg can solve this situation if a defender blocks you, but I can't advise it. You only have one skill, so please choose something carefully and useful in most of your games.